All right, guys, you ready for another one? Me too. Roll on. All right, guys, here's what we got tonight. We've got some exhaust pipe here, and this is off of a smaller car. I think it's kind of a rice burner. I don't remember what kind of car it is, but customer got a hold of me because I'm friends with his brother and asked if this was something that I could help him out with. He actually brought a couple things over. He had two bumpers off of a four-wheeler. This one was broke right here, so I went ahead and fixed that one for him. This one was broke on both sides, so I went ahead and welded those on. So those are done. The last order of business to get this customer fixed up is going to be this exhaust. So when he first got a hold of me, he did ask if I had any of this size exhaust pipe laying around in stainless. I told him I really don't carry exhaust pipe because it's so rare that I do it. And I said it would be better if you just went and bought a piece of pipe and then brought it back and I'll weld it up for you. So that's exactly what he did. He purchased this piece, I believe it was from Summit Racing, and had it shipped to his house. He brought it down. So we should be ready to get this all fixed up for him. He wants 14 inches of length added to this. And he did cut it, he did mark it. It was really a big help that he was able to mark these, where they went and which side was which. So he marked both sides. Each one says right on it. And he also put a line so that we know which way the flanges orient on either end. So kudos to him for doing that. That makes our life a lot easier. The first thing we need to do is we need to take and square up these ends. I don't want to go crazy and grind a whole bunch of this off, because we want to keep the length as close to what he needs it to be. But I can see that they are kind of ski-womper on the ends. So we'll go over to the belt grinder. I'm going to throw a brand new belt on and we'll go ahead and square these up. I'm just going to use a small framing square to square this up. Once we get them squared up, we'll come back over here to the table and we'll check our fit. We will throw the extra length of exhaust pipe in the saw and we'll cut our 14-inch pieces and we should be good. And I did get some goodies that I think are gonna help the finished product, help with the way it looks. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about when we get all this set up and ready to go. All that's left to do now is to get after it, so let's do it. All right, guys, so we got our parts cut, squared up here. We're gonna start with the right side here. There is a little bit of a burr left on the inside here, so I'm just gonna take my deburring tool here. Just hit that real quick. Clean it up. We got our 14-inch piece cut here. We squared it up as well. So the next order of business, I'm going to get the Dynasty all set up for DC TIG. I'm going to swap out my tungsten, get it nice and sharp. We'll go ahead and start tacking these, and then I'll walk you guys through the process I use for this, and then we'll talk about what kind of goodies I got that I think are gonna help us out on this job. I'll get this all set up, ready to go, and then we'll come back to you. All right, guys, I got my machine all set up. It's ready to go. We're almost ready to start tacking this up, but I wanna go over some tools that we purchased that I think are gonna help us on this project. So this right here is a Furic starter kit. I purchased this kit from weldmonger.com, I believe, and I think it was 130 bucks, but I want to show you what it comes with. So it's got a bunch of different gas lenses there. The thing that I'm most excited about is it comes with this great big ceramic, I don't even know what size it is. I think it's a number 12. I'm pretty sure it's a number 12, but it's great big, and I've seen a lot of people use this setup on stainless. From what I hear, it helps quite a bit because you get way better coverage. The coverage area for the gas is just a lot bigger when you use a cup that size. So we're gonna try it and see what happens. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. I am gonna hit this exhaust, just the joint where we're gonna weld it. I am gonna hit it with some Scotch-Brite, and then we're gonna be ready to tack. So we'll do that now. All right, so I've got my Strong Hand Tools pipe clamp here, and it's holding the exhaust together. I've checked this with the square to see if it's in line, and it looks like it is. It's kind of tricky because right here, there's a little bit of a bend, so it's hard to tell if it's in line or not. I'm gonna get a tack on it on both sides. I'm gonna pull the clamp, and then I'm gonna check it at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock and see if it's good that way too. If it is, then we'll put our other tacks on it, and that one will be good. So let's see what happens. Well, it does give it good coverage. You want your joints as tight as possible with exhaust like this. It's such thin wall material, it makes it difficult to weld. So if you can keep your joints tight, you're gonna do yourself a favor. It looks like it's in line. I don't know how much clearance he has on this car. I'm assuming probably not very much, but it looks like it's in line with the existing piece after it makes its little bend. So we're gonna roll with it. So I'm gonna put 2 more tacks on this, and then we'll move on to our next piece, and I'll show you how I'm gonna make sure that my flanges get lined up. This is kind of tricky because he's got it marked, but then he wanted me to add 14 inches. So for me to transfer that mark down the pipe and keep it straight, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it in the vise. I'm gonna tap it with a centering head on both ends. If I tap both ends with a centering head, then I'll have 2 little dimples that I can line my square up, make a mark, and that'll get us right in line with our other end so that our flanges are right where he wants them to be. So I'm gonna put this in the vise, and I'll show you guys what I mean.
It's time for today's super cool tool.
All right, so for today's super cool tool, we're gonna be talking about these little soft jaws that I can slip in my vise here. So I bought them off Amazon, and the brand is Work Pro. And they are magnetic, so they stick to the jaws. This actually comes in a set with 1 set of just straight rubber jaws. The other set, this one has an aluminum frame and then a rubber jaw on the inside. So it's a little more rigid. So if you're working on something where you still need significant pressure with the jaws, I would use this set. This set I've used for numerous things that I didn't want to mar or scar up. And I've used these for working on guns. You can see that there's some grooves, so you can hold things that have a round profile. There's some that run the other direction. Very neat tool, very good thing to have. And if you do a lot of mechanic work, you definitely want to add a set of these to your arsenal. I got mine on Amazon. I'll have to check on the price. And it's been a great set. I've had it for a long time, haven't had any issues with it. So check them out, get yourself a set of soft jaws for your vise, quit marring up your work. Let's get back to the project. Okay, so I'm gonna clamp this. It might take me a minute to get this dialed in because I want my mark to be right at 12 o'clock. So I'm using my centering head here. If you haven't seen a centering head, this is what they look like. There's a little center punch here, and it goes through the apparatus and puts a little center pop mark on what you're working on. This dial is adjustable. So if you want a 15 degree or a 30 degree or whatever angle you want, you can turn that to that angle, and then when it's level, you hit your center pop, and then it gives you a little dimple. Another awesome fabrication tool that you're gonna need if you're doing a lot of fabrication and if you're working on round things like this. All right, so we got our centering head on our mark, dead center. It's level, we're on 90 degrees. So now I'm gonna give this a tap. Okay, I can see my little dimple. So now without moving anything, I wanna move it down to this end and do the same thing. Okay, so now I've moved down to the opposite end. I haven't moved anything, I'm still at 90 degrees, and I'm gonna tap it on this end. You gotta remember, being stainless, it's not magnetic, so it's gonna be a little tougher to hold it right where you want it. So that's it right there. I'm gonna tap it. Okay, so now I need to take my straight edge. Okay, so now I've got it on my marks. So now I've got a Sharpie line coming from his mark all the way down to the end of this one. And now I know where to line it up to keep his flanges in line where he wants them. So now we'll go over and we'll tack this end. That's right in line right there. And it's tight, and I've checked the top, and it is in line. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this now. Oh. So now I'm gonna check opposite of that and see if it is in line. Gal, it's dang close. I'm gonna have Bridger come push on this while I tack it. Ready? Mm-hmm. Check it again. We're gonna get 2 more tacks on this at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So that one's all fit up. So I think what we'll do is we'll bounce over to the other one and we'll get it fit up. And then once we have them both fit up, we'll go ahead and weld them out. Alright, we're just finishing getting this taped up. I know, I'm sure there's some fabricators out there that are losing their mind right now because I'm using frog tape on my stainless, but it just works so well for me. So I'm going to continue to do it. Okay, in case you guys didn't notice, I am doing a purge. I've got it set at like 7 CFH, between 5 and 7 CFH. And we're purging it with argon. I got a little teeny hole poked in this other end. It's pushing the argon through. I've got my second joint taped up and it's going well so far. And this cup is freaking awesome. We're getting good color on our weld here, so we're getting good coverage on our gas. So I'm just gonna keep rolling it, welding this out. Another little pointer for you guys. I noticed that this Strong Hand Tools clamp works really well with something like this where I can't hold this up. I want this pipe in this position, but I can't hold it up and weld it at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll take this clamp, I'll clamp it where I want it, and then adjust it, and then it holds it up where I need it. So that's pretty slick. One more section here. Grab me that acetone, will you? There's a little bit of glue on here from the tape. Nobody freak out. We're just gonna wipe it off with some acetone. It's gonna be just fine. if there's a little bit of a fisheye left from when I finished the last pass, I just make sure that I go over that. So I may have to back up a little bit just to get rid of that fisheye. Alright guys, we got this all finished up. Give you guys a look here before we clean it up. I think it turned out pretty good. That cup kicks butt. Really liking the Furic cup. Being such a big cup, having such good coverage for something like this, especially for stainless where it's so important. I do have quite a few other cup setups to try. So pretty sweet kit. Comes with back caps, O-rings, diffusers. I believe this kit was 150 bucks or so. One of the biggest things you can notice here with that cup is I'm getting a lot better color on my stainless. It's not near as gray, so I'm getting better coverage. As you're going around, it gives it just enough time to cool before the oxygen hits it. So definitely makes a difference. So that's pretty much it for the exhaust. One of the other things I did want to mention, some of you guys have mentioned you like hearing about the truck upgrades that I do. We just got back from camping, and one of the truck upgrades that I did is I put some 7,500 pound airbags on the truck. I've always put airbags on my trucks. I like having the ability to level my truck once I put a trailer on it. I feel like it rides better. So I'll let you guys check that out. So there's the airbags right there. This was the first time I ever went with a pack brake brand, and so far I like it. I'll show you guys the compressor. One of the toughest things about these newer trucks is finding somewhere to mount the compressor. They cram so much technology into these newer trucks. It's tough to find a spot on the frame to mount a compressor. So there's the actual compressor. The compressor's right here. This is the Bluetooth unit. So I've got an app that I can use my phone to adjust it. So if I click on the app here, so it'll scan for your compressor. All right, so then pack brake shows up. So now it's connected. So right now they got 10 PSI. If I want to fill it up, it gives you 3 presets here. So I got my camp trailer, I'm going to put my gooseneck here, and then I've got empty. When you run these empty, you want to run them with 10 PSI. So right now there's 10 PSI in them. If I hit my camp trailer, so it will just gradually air up until it hits 40 PSI, which is what my preset for my camp trailer's at. And then if I want to drop it to empty or 10 PSI, hit that one. And then it drops right down to 10. The only thing that I found that I dislike, it takes probably a minute for my phone to link up to the Bluetooth receiver. It's not that big a deal, but I feel like with the airlift ones that I had on my previous trucks, it's just a lot quicker. My dad has the airlift ones, and I feel like it connects just like that. So it's a little bit slower to connect. Other than that, it works great. So that's the only thing I found that I really don't care for compared to the other ones that I've ran. Just wanted to give you guys an update on the truck upgrades. Next order of business is probably going to be wheels and tires. Stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this project. It was a smaller project. It was a quicker project. There's a lot of good stuff you can learn on a project like this, like learning how to manipulate the part and rig it up so that you can get to where you need to and be comfortable, how to set up a purge system. There's some good stuff on this. It's simple, but it's also stuff that's important. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Appreciate you guys watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you on the next one. He had 2 bumpers. One of them's aluminum. No. But the last order of business to get this customer fixed up is going to be this exhaust pipe. But the last order of business to get this, I told him I really don't carry any of that. So really, it was really a very good job. So he marked right on both pieces, and he put a line on both pieces. I'm just going to use a small frame and square. I'm just going to use, I did get some goodies that I think are going to make this a lot easier and should help with finished product. So I'll show you guys what we... All right, guys, so I got my machine all set up. Start over. All right, guys, so I got my machine all set up. We're ready to go. But I do want to show you guys the goodies that I was talking about that I purchased that I think are going to help. The gas cone, the gas coverage is just the gas plume. What would you call that? The area that the gas covers is just the coverage area for the gas. So if you're working on something that you've got to have, if you're working on something where you need to just shoot. She's gonna roll with it. He just rolls. Oh, this is still recording.